Bengals get a huge win over the Jaguars on Monday Night Football. We'll talk about this coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
I'm Ace and Zim.
We got a special show as always.
The voice of the Bengals. Dan Ford, Willie Anderson, Corey Dillon.
The name of this thing is called Wincinnati, and I'm not going to stop.
Talk to us about that roller coaster season.
I'm still going to give you the same AJ.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best.
Always working ever since I met y'all, boy.
I got to get your top 5 receivers. Better, man.
It was good. Watch out for us.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. We are your hosts, Ace and Zim, coming to you live on a Victory Tuesday evening as we're recording this. Zim, how are you feeling about the much-needed dub that Jake Shiesty pulled off last night?
I'm feeling like here we are. Did you miss us in the winner circle? I know a lot of people have just been thinking like the Bengals was going to fall all the way off a cliff. But here we are. I just finished watching JT O'Sullivan's quarterback. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. Absolute masterclass of a game from Jake Browning. That was a beautiful game of football. I was just talking to you pre-show and just was talking about how whether we lost the game or not, I would have been sick if we lost. Make no sense. But that was a great football game, bro. And I'm so happy that I got a chance to watch it. And I'm so happy that I am a Bengals fan. And I'm so happy that, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this football game. But if you really think about it, there's a guy that's probably watching, guy or girl, watching right now and probably sitting there saying, man, I wish they didn't do this or did it. But that's cool. I rock with you. But at the same time, think about everything that we've outlined that we wanted the Bengals to do. You got to be a spoiled person to complain after a dub like that because that's what tough games look like. Are you mad that they wanted overtime? I don't know. You wanted to see Chase Brown. There he is. You wanted to see a Zac Taylor masterclass. You wanted to see him cook. His best play calling game of the year. There you go. You wanted to see a legitimate backup. You were worried that the Bengals didn't have an adequate backup. Jake Brown and delivered. You wanted to see them get into the run game with 25 plus touches. They gave you 30? Mixon had 25 touches alone. You wanted to see them feed the beast with Jamar Chase. I literally said and tweeted before the game, how many targets you want to see from Jamar Chase? I want to see 12. They gave him 12. He gave you 11. He gave you 11 receptions, and he went crazy. That was so fun to watch in a primetime moment. Like, I could go on and on. You wanted to see Jordan Battle. There he is. You wanted to see Awuzie coming back off the ACL. There he was. That was Awuzie's best game of the season. He gave up 4 catches, I think, for maybe like 36, 38 yards I charted. I mean, he had an 81 coverage PFF grade. I don't know what his overall grade was, but coverage-wise, like CCB goes on IR, you needed a guy to step up. There he is. Like all around the board. Ted Karras, no pressures, no sacks, had 40-something reps. Or, 30, 38 reps or something, dropbacks.
Right. Yeah, on, man.
Bro. That was a great game.
Definitely a great game. I think anybody that stayed up, watched it go into overtime, was not disappointed that they stayed up past midnight watching that game. Like you said, the game was extremely exciting. I think, like Cornell is saying, one of the best Monday Night Football games that I think we've seen. I don't think you have to be biased to say that. It was a game that was super exciting. I think, like you said, we wanted to see from this coaching staff what they could do. I think we saw that. We wanted to see them run the ball. Wanted to see them go for it on 4th down, right? I kind of talked about that on the last show. Don't just do this thing where you line up and let the clock expire and all of that and punt. Go for it. They did that. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't work. You did some things, like you said, going to Uno. Uno was a key in this game. And I always say, even if you have a guy like T. Higgins on the field and he doesn't fill the box score, he still changes how teams are going to play you, how teams are going to play Uno. It's going to allow Uno to get freed up to do some things, especially in a game where with T. Higgins coming back, they probably didn't know what they expect. Like you said, You talked about Jordan Battle. DJ Turner was extremely physical in this game. And it's crazy because a lot of people said with him coming into the league that he was too small, that he would struggle with making tackles and stuff like that. I never really believed in that or bought into it, but it's clear that he's playing an AFC North brand of football. A lot of people wanted him to jump on the fumble, and hey, with these rookies and stuff like that, you're going to get situations like that happen where they're gonna learn along the way. So, I think that that's something that DJ is gonna learn from. I do agree with Cheeto. I think that was the best game that Cheeto's had. Mike Hilton also had an amazing game. There were a couple of breakups that he had in coverage. He also had the blitz where he came in on the hit and stuff like that. They were just hitting on all cylinders, man. But the biggest thing was Jake. I got people that aren't even Bengals fans hitting me, bro. A 49ers fan, old coworker, said the Bengals got a quarterback controversy on their hands. Just joking. It's a joke because he likes Burrow, but he's letting us know, like, yeah, Jake might be one of them ones. And now that we're sitting here now, 350 plus yards later, 2 touchdowns later. You just talked about the QB school later. He's getting the analysis. Jordan Palmer gave him the blessing weeks ago before this happened. We got to talk about Jake Browning, bro. Like what? Like
Bro, he led all quarterbacks in yards this week. A perfect QB rating. Bro, he only had like 3 drops and 1 throwaway. Like he had to kill a play. Like that was a master class like performance. And there's a lot of people. I get it. You're saying, well, I mean, it's just one game. There is a lot of throws in that game that dude can make. And I'm not here to say that this dude is Joe Burrow. I think he's Jake Browning. And he made himself a lot of money last night because there's going to be somebody sitting there. There's an argument he could help a team like someone with a really, really good defense or somebody like that. Like that could have been that's a better option than what the Browns have been offering all year at quarterback. They haven't had a performance like that from any quarterback, including the starting one that's on the sideline right now, all year that looked anything like Jake Browning. And that was our backup that came in there and did that against the number 2 run defense in the NFL, like where you had to be able to set up runs to help them out and all these different things. It was so crazy. Like the touch he had on a T. Huddy throw over there in the red zone was incredible. The out route that he threw to Tyler Boyd on that 3rd down with anticipatory throw is just incredible. The Jamar Chase throw on the sideline, the fade doesn't have the arc that I would like, but the ball placement is only Jamar Chase can get it. Like there's simple things in there that I just thought that I was like, wow, like those are really good things that you love to see, unlike him getting tip passes and then Jamar Chase like catches it and goes 60, 70 yards or something like that. And then I walk away from it like saying like, yeah, bro, that should have got picked. Like the touch that he had throughout the game, I thought was very evident because his strength isn't going to be firing it in there, but his mental, him protecting the line of scrimmage and them having Sample in the backfield with him as a bigger pass protector and him being able to acknowledge some of those plays, slide protection, run screens to the weak side of the action, and then the blitz comes through, he invites it through, throws the screen. Him checking to some of those throws and stuff was beautiful, and that's not something you see from a guy doing his second start. My wife is over here going like this on the side because there's a whole lot of glaze that has got to.
You are glazing. Let me.
But listen, but listen here, the guy was balling.
He was balling, man. We got the next gen stats here. Dude was dotting it up, man. As you can see on this visual right here, Jake Browning was cooking, man. 32 of 37, 354 yards and a touchdown. Dude was just dotting them up. I wish that it was actually a Thursday night football game so we could see the next gen stats on the screen provided by Amazon, but dude was doing this thing, bro. The glazing itself is rightfully so because what this kid was able to do, man, especially bouncing back from that game last week, was extremely impressive. To me, this is a guy now, I think when I look at what happened yesterday, the way that this team fought, led by Jake Browning, this looks like a team that could compete, bro. Like, and I say that with a straight face. I don't think a week ago I was feeling like that. I don't think a lot of Bengals fans were feeling like that because the game plan didn't really complement him well. I think this one was perfect for him to be able to run the ball with a guy like Joe Mixon, in the nearly over the double digits, but to be able to have those runs and then have the runs of Chase Brown with the compliments. It seemed like at the beginning of that game, like Zac Taylor was just listening to a lot of it almost seemed like he was in spaces. Like you got Chase Brown runs early. You got to run by Mixon early. You got a lot of the stuff that people were kind of clamoring for early on in the game. And I think it complimented Jake well. And this could be, the start of something special, man. You saw guys like Brock Purdy that came out of nowhere last year. Could Jake Browning be one of those guys that comes in and establishes his own story? Especially, and you said this, the Bengals have a bunch of weapons, right? If the weapons are still there, how can this guy not eat with being in there? And we saw him spread the ball around. That was the most impressive thing, the way that he spread the ball around. Yes, Jamar Chase had 12 targets, but he hit like 9 receivers. Pause. Like he did, like he went to a whole bunch of different people. We saw Mitchell Wilcox get one. We saw T. Huddy, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Chase Brown, Joe Mixon. Like the wealth was really shared around. And the way that kid came out with like the laser focus was amazing, bro. Let's talk about the run game though, because Chase Brown coming in getting 6.8 yards per carry, Joe Mixon doing this thing with over 100 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Had him on my fantasy team, so shout out to Joe Mixon. Appreciate you, bro.
Same here.
Helped me get that dub last night. Let's talk about the run game, bro, because I think one of the things that we've said in spaces is in 2021, the run game was an integral part of the Bengals offense. I don't think people talk about it enough. Obviously, Burrow to Chase was a big thing, but if you remember, Joe Mixon had a ton of rushing touchdowns that season, and they ran the ball and played balanced football.
Should have had 3. He should have had 3 last night.
Should have had 3. Should have had a trifecta. So what are your thoughts, bro, like on the run game? Because I thought that the run game was going last night.
Let me give you a stat that I just put up on for Wincinnati. If you don't follow Wincinnati Pod, I might have put this under my account, but Wincinnati Pod on Twitter. In the 3 games that the Bengals have scored 30-plus points this season, they ran the ball 31, 30, and 27 times. Those are the only 3 times that they scored over 30 points. Hello. Hello. And one thing, and I'm going to tell you one thing about the run game that I thought is so special to me and so great to see things that you believe in kind of play out in real time. The run game, I literally was saying about how I watched the Cardinals beat the Steelers running for 3.9 yards a carry, absolutely killed them. Just running for like not an insane, clip. So an analytic guy is going to tell me, well, I mean, they aren't really running it, but because they were balanced with it, it causes the defense to be able to bring their safety down in the box. The edge can't play. He can't just shoot upfield. And a lot of people that get scapegoated out are the offensive linemen as a result of no run. I don't care who you are. You could be the number 1 offensive line in football with the Philadelphia Eagles. If you drop back 40 times and you're playing premier passes, like imagine Josh Allen last night for the Jaguars, who had a great game. Imagine you dropping back 40-something times and you never ran the ball. You think that dude's not going to come and get that offensive line? And then what do we do online? We come back and say, bro, the O-line, we got to go to the draft. We got to change the whole. Now, I still do want a new O-line coach, and I do want a run game coordinator to make this thing like really, really good and consistent in the run game. But I think that they use the offensive line as a catalyst to why the Bengals don't have success. And really, it's the balance to me. And I thought the run game set the tone. Like early on, I noticed like even in the exchanges, they went back to the style where the placement of the ball. And I love the way that Browning sells his play actions out of that RPO action. The way he sells it to a viewer at home, you really don't know sometimes. Is that play action? is that a run play, and that's beautiful. And it's part of the placement that he has when he hands the ball off, and then when he gets away from it. And then the one little quick thing that I thought that they changed is Joe Mixon, when he would get those handoffs, instead of like waiting for the pause into the gut of his belly, he was taking it and then jump cutting into the hole. And I thought like that was a great adjustment by him to like get the, he had a run early in the one that got like 6 yards. Did y'all see that run? It looked like he could have took it to the house. He like tripped up and he fell down, but he had like the whole, field in front of him. Then after you do that, the magic happens because then Chase Brown comes in and everybody's so used to Joe Mixon just hitting the hole like that. Chase Brown is like, I'm about to be patient. And then when I see what I want, I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? It was the great storm that you watch it and you say, why didn't you do that when Joe Burrow was here? And had you done it, I know it's guilt. I feel guilty for saying it, but it's just the elephant in the room. Had you done that with Joe Burrow here, I don't think week 1, week 2, or any of the injury stuff that we talking about with Joe Burrow looks anything like it. And we might be talking about Joe Burrow still playing right now today. That's the reality of the running the ball.
I completely agree with you. I do think that needs to be the game plan going forward. I was just talking with my cousin. After seeing Jake play the way that he did, doesn't it kind of make you feel like they should have went with Jake to start the season when Burrow wasn't 100%? Like, if he could, like, your record is probably honestly better than it is now because you got to think about how limited Joe Burrow was back at that time, right?
Right.
I think your record is probably better, and I think, like, even if Joe does eventually go down, you're still in a situation where you probably have possibly 2 more wins than you have right now. But I completely agree with you.
Maybe just I for sure. I look at some of those games, like the one I would pinpoint to me. I thought the Titans game. I know it's a blowout, but if you really watch that game and the way that Mixon was running, like he ran for 4.8 yards of carry in that game. They just got off the run game so quick. Mm-hmm. If Jake Brown is playing in that same situation, now that's like week 3 or 4, right? Then we play the Titans like week 3.
So I think it was.
I guess the Browns one would stand out to everybody the most. Like that's the one where he's clearly not like ready to go in that type of situation. It's raining.
Ravens game. Somebody said Ravens game.
Joe
cooked in that game though.
Joe Burrow in that week 2 one, he only gets 7 possessions because I'm gonna tell you the defense got killed in that game. That is like that's the one game I look at. I have no excuses for the defense in that game. I feel like they got cooked. But in that game, he only had 7 possessions. He scored in 4 of the possessions. In one of the possessions, one of the 5th possessions that out of the 7 that he got is the one where he drives all the way down the field and then he throws the pick to Geno Stone. So it's not like he wasn't moving the ball in that game. Like I thought he moved. He had 1 scramble in that game. That one, I guess week 1. But then
now that I'm actually looking at it, bro, like we really didn't do as bad as I thought that I remember. So you had the Browns game, right? Like maybe if you put Jake in that one, it definitely gives you a better chance. You lost to the Ravens by 3. Joe kind of cooked a little in the second half. Bengals won the Rams game the following week, right? Then you get blown out by the Titans. So
see, the Rams one was the main one that everybody thought he wasn't going to play, and that's a game where he didn't even play that well. And so, like, that's a game that I would pinpoint and say that probably should have been a Jake Browning game. Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, looking at it now, like in hindsight, there wasn't really one outside of maybe the Ravens that was close, but I still feel like Joe kind of cooked in that game. I know they didn't get things going until the second half, and then there was a turnover, but there really wasn't a game that you could look at and be like, yeah, if Jake Browning plays this game, we for sure win. Like, it's not something similar to like the Steelers game, right? Like the Steelers game, I feel like if we had that game plan that we had with the Jaguars, it's a dub. It doesn't seem like you really had one of those.
I was going to say, instead of us going down a rabbit hole of what game Jake Browning should have played, I look at it more so the game plan. Like that game plan would have protected Joe Burrow. that game plan was the game plan that would have you at the very minimum 7-5 when you played the Steelers. You'd have got the dub off of that just off running. You was up 7-3. Yeah. You could have went up 10-7. I mean, I'm sorry, 10-3 on them with just a field goal when Jake Browning throws the pick. But just the game plan, I think, it's taught us a lot. And I think moving forward, Zac is really smart about correcting and taking full responsibility for certain things. Callahan's comments over the last 2 weeks have bothered me about how his overall thoughts. I don't know if that's just like his ego trying to say, like, I hear y'all talking about the run, but I'm gonna do my thing. Y'all ain't no offensive coordinators. Like, I don't know if it's like some weird thing within himself that he's got to like kind of like have a man-to-man with. I didn't like those comments, but I just think that they would be foolish to move forward.
I got a stat for you. That everybody say nobody watched the Bengals or small market teams. Monday night's Bengals and Jaguars game drew more than 16.48 million viewers, marking an increase of 46% from Week 13's game in 2022. It was the most watched telecast of the night. Only thing that came close, which really didn't come close, it was 16 times less, was the Celtics Pacers with 1 million views.
And this is the crazy thing. Imagine if Joe Burrow would have played in that game, going up against Trevor Lawrence. We'd be talking about probably the number one watched Monday Night Football game of all time. I do a live stream.
What's crazy about that is, remember the first time they played and that dude came out with the snarky comment before the game, and he was like, "Who wants to watch this game? This is going to be one of the worst Thursday Night Football games ever."
Bro,
that was crazy.
And I just thought, like, in that game, Jacksonville had a lot. It was their first Monday Night Football game, I think, since like 1991 or something like that. They had a lot at stake. I thought the Bengals fans represented really well. You heard the comments from Dougie P afterwards. He was frustrated that they had noise problems in their crib.
Not a surprise for me, bro. Like, honestly, I always go whenever they come down to Florida. I didn't go this time just because the kids had to go to school in the morning, so I couldn't make the trip, unfortunately. But the last time that I went there, one time that sticks out when I took my wife was a preseason game, believe it or not. Preseason game. Entire stadium was full of Bengals fans, and my wife was like, "Y'all just be everywhere. Like, we're leaving, going off. Who they here, who they there." Now, mind you, this is before Joe Burrow. This is when Andy Dalton was the quarterback. Gio was there. I still got a crazy video of me going crazy for Gio in the preseason. But that's how it is down here. There's a lot of people from Ohio. Like Florida is a transplant state, so you get a lot of people from down this way that are Bengals fans. Think about the Bucs game last year. Remember, you could hear the Bengals fans on TV? Yeah. Like, who they nation is deep down there. And then, of course, you got people traveling. You got people traveling, too.
We travel really well, I think, in like those at those Nashville games. I always feel like they travel really well. Like, man, like that was really big to see, and I'm so happy that we got the fans got a chance to rage against the machine, what I call it, and the people that tell you that you probably shouldn't be going that hard for the Bengals no more because Joe Burrow goes down, but. Everybody
I
told
heard we
us.
were fair weather.
That's
bro.
what they told me.
How we showed up like that yesterday then?
Bro, what's the one thing I always used to hear on Spaces? They'd be like, "Where all these Bengals fans come from?" I'd be like, "We've been here. You just didn't care. Nobody cared. So we've been here." And it's crazy. I was on a job site, a construction site today. The superintendent of this site, I looked in his truck. He had Bengals seats. Like on the Bengals little car seat cover. So I had this interesting conversation with him, and it was so crazy. A Spanish dude was like, what's the Bengals? I said, what's your favorite team? He said Argentina. I was like, that would be like me. I mean, like if I was from Argentina and you came here and then you just randomly ran into an Argentina fan. Like we're all over the place, but it's like so scattered out and not in your face. It's like when you see a Bengals fan, it's like, who they? You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like, and I got a chance to be like, bro, like, did you see that game? Like, that's not a everyday thing for me because we're here, but we're just in our houses. We're moving around. We're traveling,
I literally saw someone this past weekend. He had the leaving Tiger joint on like this with the orange one. As soon as I seen Who Dey, he was like, "Oh, Who Dey!" Like that's how it is, bro. That's how it is. Let's get to some of these receipts though, because Zim is wondering who Sass and Spice is, man.
Somebody added
It
him
was a
for me
little
too.
nasty. We gonna have to start pulling receipts,
33
man.
to
This is nasty.
33 to 0 is the nastiest pre-game score. Whoever that guy is, matter of fact, they're in the comments. Somebody added the dude in the comments. I'm gonna need everybody to just ask him, like, you sure about that? I need y'all to go holler at him, because like I kept it low key on the receipts. I wasn't even in the mood for that yesterday. I was so excited, like just on some real stuff, bro. I thought that was a great game. I just really thought that was a great football game. It wasn't a bunch of punting. You had really good offense. You had controversy. You had heartbreak. You had, you know what I'm saying? It was just so many different elements of it. You know, I was talking about how I showed my son, like my son is starting to like football a lot more or whatever, to like show him and be like, imagine you show somebody a game and they ain't seen football in a while and you show them a 7-3 game, or you show them the 6-0 game with the Chargers and the Patriots or something like that. You'd be like, bro, football kind of sucks. But to show them like that, and it wasn't like it wasn't defense being played. It just was, that was a good game.
No, I think it was a dope game for sure. I think even if you were just a football fan watching the game, it was exciting. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence goes down. That was tough towards the end, right? But the good thing is we got reports today that it's just an ankle sprain, so that's a sigh of relief. Looks like his left tackle ended up rolling up on Mr. Walker Little, ended up stepping on his ankle there. Unfortunate for that. Glad that Trevor's okay, though. But Trey Hendrickson, man, that brings him to, I think it's 13 sacks on the season. Is it 12 and a half or 13 or something?
12 and a half, I believe.
12 and a half. And matter of fact, happy birthday to Trey Hendrickson if he's watching this as well.
Shout out to Joseph Ossai getting a sack last night. I feel like everything. I was just talking to my boy like just a second ago, and I was like, bro, 11 and a half, not 12, not 13 and a half, 11 and a half.
11 and a half. Okay.
I was talking to my boy, and he was just like telling me different things he thought the Bengals could do well. But I was just thinking to myself, bro, they literally gave us what did you want from the game? I feel like they had something for everybody. The run game, the young kids,
the offensive line, bro. Like the offensive line, I think under that concept of balance, I think it helped the offensive line out.
Bro, tremendously. How about on the other side of the trenches? We've been having a lot of conversations about what do we do with DJ Reader after the season. DJ Reader was packing them boys. That was DJ Reader's best game of the season. He waited for Monday night.
Highest graded PFF players on the D line. He did his thing. Nanden here where the super chat says need to run the ball more from now on. Mix and Brown equals W. I agree. I think that balanced play, but like Zim is saying on the defensive side, man, this defensive line is still doing their thing. Trey Hendrickson, you talked about Joseph Ossai, DJ Reader. Zach Carter actually had a pretty decent, PFF grade. I haven't watched the film, but he had a decent game too.
He had a big hit on somebody, and I thought it was like on a goal line stand, but I think they ended up scoring anyway. But he did make a big play. I had to go back and watch it too because I haven't had a chance to go like full dive in all 22, but did watch that quarterback guru, one with JT O'Sullivan. That's good stuff. If y'all really want to see the breakdown on all the on the Jake Browning throws, it's some good stuff out there, some good tape out there. There's some cutouts of DJ Reader out there doing really good. Baldy's got some out there, some breakdowns with him. But there's some stuff out there. And I got a hot take too. I think that because of the rough season I think that Tyler Boyd has had, and then you think about that trick play that happened and all these different weird things that are kind of happening to him, I think Tyler Boyd is going to have like a big moment, before the season is over. And that's where the conversation where me and you were talking and people were like, what should we do with this? What should we do? I'm like, there's still some evaluating stuff that we got to see, whether we make the playoffs or not, that we had to see going down the stretch. And I just thought like Tyler Boyd, he's due for like a big moment. And I think he's going to come through. And I think everybody's got to stop having like these knee-jerk reactions. Like I have fun in real time watching the game. I was criticizing the trick play, but make no mistake about it, bro. Tyler boys do not grow on trees. So, like, I don't want nobody to get lost in the sauce and be like, bro, like, why are you turning on Tyler Boyd? Like, nah, I'm just in the game. I'm a criticize some points or whatever. And I thought that was a stupid play. And I don't know if that's coaching, telling them, hey, bro, you just got to skunk that one and throw that one away. I don't know what he saw that made him throw it, but he threw it. And that was a stupid decision. And I hope he never makes that again. But I think moving forward, I do think he's going to come through. And I know a lot of people were sitting there saying, man, I know Jake Brown ain't going to do that ever again. I'm going to tell you this. I like the schedule that's coming up. It'd be one thing to say, can Jake Brown go do this against the 49ers? Can Jake Brown go do this, against like some of those guys? The Browns is going to be a big test for him. But that's another game where I'm like, well, they got to run the ball. Like, you can't go to Cleveland. You can't go to Cleveland and just throw anyway. So it's just, it's one of those things like, you saw all hands on deck. You saw these guys come and battle and say, look, we're all going to step our game up. We're going to feed our best player, Jamar Chase. We're not going to forget about Joe Mixon, and we definitely not going to forget about him receiving passes. He's one of the best running backs receiving passes in the NFL, and I just thought that most of the season they haven't thrown it to him. Dude had over 125 all-purpose yards yesterday. Incredible game from him. 2 touchdowns. He had a third one that they didn't count, but I thought that was a touchdown. I thought he broke the plane on that one. So it's so much love to go around on the team, and that's how the NFL goes. The person that loses is going to point out things that didn't go their way, and we're used to that as Bengals fans. They're going to tell you about their injuries. They're going to tell you who wasn't there when they lose, when they win. They ain't going to mention it on the opposite side. It's just the way it goes. I will block all that stuff out. That was T. Higgins' first game back in 3 games, and Bengals fans, credit to y'all. I feel like I hadn't seen that like used as an excuse. It's next man up. We draft wide receivers really well. A lot of people took victory laps on beating us with just Jamar Chase out there and other things like that. And we understand that that's the way it goes. And I think that's why Bengals fans travel so well, or we gone so we done seen it. You can't tell me about injuries if you ain't talking to me about Carson Palmer leaving first play of the game. If you're an op in here right now, has your quarterback left on the first play of the game in the playoffs when he was leading the National Football League in touchdowns and Pro Bowl votes? First game of the first throw, 60 yards down the field, and gets his leg torn up, and then you had to go watch that team go win the Super Bowl. If that ain't never happened to you, don't talk to me about injuries. I know all that too well. So that's another thing. It's like people like, man, I don't know if y'all would have did this. And like, listen, a win is a win. When we look back at all these different things in time, that's a Jake Browning legacy game right there, and that boy is going to get paid. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season, but there's going to be 10 teams that say, yeah, that one game alone, that I can pay. I'm paying for that. I just said, like, the Browns, look at them all year. They didn't have one game like that the whole year. As good as that defense is and everything like that, gone through 3-4 quarterbacks, nobody threw nothing like Jake Brown, like the whole year.
Yeah, I think that it was definitely a game where a lot of praise can go around. Evan McPherson, got to shout him out. Can't forget him. Game-winning field goal to seal that win yesterday, so shout out to him. Shout out to the coaching staff, man. I know a lot of people, including myself, were critical of Zac Taylor, but what I want to see going forward is the consistency. Like, I've seen this from Zac and company before, where when they're taking some bullets from people in the media and people talking about the game plan, they cook up this super game plan. Let's just keep it consistent. I think that they can do that. I think that obviously that's going to be a part of the evaluation process as well. We saw Duke down there evaluating a lot before the game and probably during the game. But this is going to be a fun ride, man, to see where this Jake Brown and roller coaster ends at. I'm ready to get on for sure, pause. But with that being said, let's pass the friends at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Ace and Zim will keep us up on that Bengals news. And when they get it hit, Midwest Best Q is the move. On our way to make it through the grid. Keep up wings, it's so smooth that you need 50. Ace and Zim will keep us up on that Bengals news. And when they get it hit, Midwest Best Q is the move. On our way to make it through the grid. Keep up wings, it's so smooth that you
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Stop in and let them know Ace and Zim sent you some of the best wings in the Natty if you were able to watch Monday Night Football. Hope that you were able to enjoy it with some Midwest Best Barbecue. Some of the best wings out there. The G-Funks, let me tell you, the G-Funks be hitting. And then, of course, after the Jamar just did what he did, you got to double it up with some Uno wings for sure. Unbeatable out there. That's going to be the Cajun dry rub seasoning. So they've got the stuff with the sauce. They got the stuff with the dry rubs. Check them out. They even got the beef brisket. They have regular barbecue as well. You can get all kinds of sandwiches and things like that. So Midwest Best Barbecue. You can also order online for pickup as well. Once again, that's Midwest Best Barbecue. Shout out to Justin Neff here with the super chat. My boy, 1999.
Yeah.
Who they boys? Let's win the F out. I'm with it.
Oh, let's go. It's great. Crazier things have happened. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the Bengals, you kind of talked about it earlier, Zim. The Bengals are at a point now where they control their own destiny. So with these kind of games coming up, first one ahead is the Colts. You will hear from us on Thursday with us previewing that game. I'm getting into it. Can't wait to do that. But Zim, before we get out of here, was there anything that you wanted to let the people know?
I just think that, for me, Bengals are playing with house money. They're, at the end of the day, we'll all look back and say, well, if you lost the game, number 9 wasn't there. Just keeping it 100, like, it is what it is. Like, that's the franchise. He's not there. But with that said, at the same time, everybody else is there, and if you really believed in this team before the season started, I feel like they're on the same wave where they're not about to back down. And if you get competent quarterback play, we were told all season, Bengals, Joe Burrow won't be nothing without his weapons. Well, bang, bang. Here come them weapons.
Yes, sir. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Make sure you follow us at Zim Hude, at New Stripe City, at the Wincinnati Pod. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Comment, let us know you guys' thoughts. We appreciate you. Also, hit that notification bell so you guys can know whenever the show goes live. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Wincinnati Podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
I'm Ace and Zim.
We got a special show as always.
The voice of the Bengals and Ford, Willie Anderson, Corey Dillon.
The name of this thing is called Wincinnati, and I'm not going to stop.
Talk to us about that roller coaster season.
I'm still going to give you the same AJ.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best.
Always working ever since I met y'all, boy.
I got to get your top 5 receiver.
It was good, bro. Watch out for us.